and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls, and I'm your host. And listen, this dude is a real, seriously true rock star. Like, I think he plays electric guitar, and I don't know about that, but this dude freaking rocks. I have an awesome guest on the show today, my good friend, Jeremy Rubin. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Ken. How's it going? Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on. I literally got up. I never get up this early, ever. Like, maybe to go to the bathroom, but I don't get up at 5:27 a.m., and I got up at 5:27 a.m. today. Like, I never get up that early. I'm up till 1 o'clock every night. So, anyway, I'm fired up, dude. I'm excited to have you on.
Oh, man. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So Jeremy, I created this show, I think, last April of 2018. And I decided, man, I've had a lot of blessings in my life, and I just wanted to start blessing other people. And I think that a lot of people hit these obstacles in life, and they get stuck, and they don't know what to do. And I think you've hit a few obstacles in life and figured some stuff out, man. And that's what I want to do, is share your story. So why don't you start by telling everybody where you were born and raised?
Sure. So born in Glendale, California at Seventh-day Adventist Hospital, delivered by Dr. Drakenberg. And that's probably...
Really?
Yeah.
You know who delivered you?
Yeah. Probably TMI, but...
And, you said Dr. Drakenberg?
Dr. Drakenberg.
I'm not sure I'll ever forget that name now. So you were born in where? Now, I already forgot the city. In California.
Glendale,
California.
LA area.
Okay.
My parents lived in Palmdale, California at the time, about an hour away. And that's where I was pretty much, raised until I was 12. And then my folks moved to the Central Coast, Nipomo, California, in 2000, and then pretty much have been here since then. So
Really?
Just about 3 hours north of LA, on the coast, about halfway between LA and San Francisco.
Okay. So you've never lived in Ohio.
I've never lived in Ohio.
You've probably never even been to Ohio.
Don't tell anyone, but no, not yet.
Dude, you gotta come out. It's snowing right now, literally. So I mean, I know you've been like you were just in Miami. We like high-fived each other and didn't even get a selfie together. That's my fault. I take full responsibility for that, dude. You were running around like a madman. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was insane. I think I sat in my seat a total of like 15 minutes for the whole GrowthCon.
I know. I felt like I had no feet left when I left there, man. So much. I mean, it was incredible. So let me ask you. Growing up, what was it like for you growing up? I mean, were you was good childhood? Everything good? Like,
yeah. I mean, can't complain. So growing up, I was fortunate enough to be homeschooled. My mom worked as a teacher in LA County School District in the 80s, and after she saw what that was like, she didn't want her kids to go into public school, and so that was I mean, really good in a lot of ways, but also it left I think I would have greatly benefited from the social exposure in public school. So I kind of was, somewhat of a late bloomer. Grew up being actually pretty quiet, pretty, very introverted, very not antisocial, but socially awkward. I always liked people, but didn't really know, I think, have enough exposure. Definitely not a natural extrovert. So definitely a much different Jeremy than people see today.
Yeah, you definitely from my perspective, I follow you on Instagram and Snapchat, and you definitely do not seem like an introvert.
Yeah. I found the extrovert within me.
So, dude, and for anybody not following Jeremy on Snapchat and Instagram, you have to go do it like now. In Instagram, you're the friendly flipper, right?
Yes.
And on Snapchat, what's your
Just friendly flipper without the word. It was too long.
Yeah. So, dude, you have some funny. I mean, absolute. One of these days we're gonna have to do a Zoom. You gotta show me how you do some of the editing. You do some really cool jump cuts and stuff, man. It's top notch. I think it might be the best I know on Snapchat, quite honestly.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I have fun with it. I didn't really know how to use it. A lot of people, I didn't really start using Snapchat until about 2 years ago, and then I just started messing around with it and having fun with it. And I love video editing and just like being able to tell stories through the lens and stuff. And so Snapchat has been a cool outlet for me to do that.
Dude, it's insane what you're capable of doing on there. So you were homeschooled like all the way through school, right?
Yeah, up until I started getting the itch to go to public school in 8th grade when all my friends got to go to Yosemite for a week, and all my public school friends, and that was like, oh man. Then I just really started kind of getting that, like, I'm feeling like I'm missing out. But then actually when I was 15, 10th grade was the first time I set foot on a public school campus. Weirdest thing ever, kind of feeling like a kindergartner in some ways at 15 in 10th grade, and did that for a couple years for sophomore and junior year, and then tested out and started going to a junior college because I was like, well, this was good, this was fun, but I'm over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry. I know nobody else could see what I was just doing, but there is a wasp flying around my office all of a sudden. That's awesome. So, like, what? He's like, I got to get out of this snow. Let me go inside. So you ended up, you said, sorry for the distraction of the wasp. I have no idea how it got in here. But you ended up going to public school, though. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then, I really wanted to do it, and convinced my parents to let me, and then went from there. But yeah, it was, I can't complain. We weren't rich, we weren't poor, average, middle class, whatever family, but always had the if I ever wanted something, I had to earn it.
Right.
And my parents didn't buy me a car, didn't buy me, took care of basic necessities, clothes and stuff. But it was always just about, if you want something, you got to earn it. So I started working, my first job actually washing dishes at like 15, when I was 15 and a half, when I had to ride my bicycle to Antonio's Ristorante. This Greek dude.
Ristorante?
Yeah. This dude, Greek dude who used to curse at us in Greek, and I was like washing dishes in an Italian restaurant. Good times. That lasted for all about 5 or 6 months until I got hired at Circuit City as holiday help, and organizing CDs for the holiday season, and then they ended up keeping me there. I stuck around and started selling computers and digital cameras, scanners, like, consumer electronics, and kind of found that I had this kind of natural knack for sales, but not in the way not salesy way that you would think. It was more so just like I liked being around people and just like showing them solutions and stuff. And sales was really key, I think, in my development, because it allowed me to talk about things and without having the attention on me.
Right.
So kind of really helped with that kind of social exposure that I really yearned for, by putting myself in that position. And that led to the time when all the Verizon kiosks started landing in circuit cities, and then they saw that I was doing pretty well. I was always shooting for top 3 in the store in volume, even competing with the guys selling the TVs, those are a lot bigger ticket items. So, but I was only making $9.10 an hour, and so the people at Verizon were like, "Dude, you should come work for us and make commission and like make a lot more, doing the same thing."
So now was this Verizon corporate or one of the dealers?
Corporate. It was Verizon corporate, which, I mean, very, I feel blessed to be able to have that just kind of fall into alignment, because if I knew, looking back, it's like, that was like the best carrier, and it was a corporate store. It was like everybody in the, working at the indirects and stuff, their ultimate goal was try to get to a corporate store.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was cool. And so and that ended up, turning into an 11-year career.
Wow.
That I loved for the longest time, until, towards the end, last 3 years, kind of, I was over it and realized, I could do more, and I was meant for more. But
right.
Yeah, but not to discount the fact that it was an awesome career for a long time.
So, one of the things I've actually used Circuit City as an example, probably not the way that you'd want to hear it, but I one time I bought a GPS thing, right? One of the little, and it was across the street from the apartments I lived in, and as it turned out, I didn't need it. Didn't open the box. Nothing. Right. Nothing. The plastic was still on it. And I take it back across the street, and I'm like, "Hey, I don't need this. Just can you give me my money back and put it back on my card? Couple $100." And they're like, "Yeah, but there's a $35 restocking fee or something." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I didn't even I'll take it to the shelf myself if need be, but I don't want to pay that. That seems a little ridiculous." And so this young kid's like, "Well, that's our policy." And I'm like, "Well, could you get the guy that kind of is in control of policy?" And he's like, so the manager's like, "Sorry, that's our policy." And I'm like, "Are y'all really serious right now? It's not even out of the thing." And anyway, so, and then they went out of business. And I'm like, okay, I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, definitely. That was right around the time I left, kind of just before I got there, right after they had went off the commission model, and left right as they kind of were the last couple of years before they kind of died away.
Yeah, wow. So you worked at Verizon for 11 years, you said, or 12
yeah.
years? Okay.
11 years, yeah, to the day.
Wow. So you how did that go, working at Verizon? You found your swing, you really started doing well?
Yeah. Really started as a part-time sales rep at 18, and then just did that for about 2 years as part-time, and then I went full-time, and just liked it more and more, and stayed a sales rep for a while because I was really enjoying being a commissioned sales rep. Making like $60K a year at 18 was pretty sweet at the time, and so then as it usually goes, when you're, I'm still just always have that drive to be the best at whatever I do, and so because just the competition is what drove me. So always loved to see my name on top of the board for gross gains, as it were, new lines of service, GGs as we call them. New activations, and within the corporate world, once you do that, then they always generally will tempt you with management and offer you a management position, and I went for it, and that was it was good. I learned a lot of skills and learned a lot more. It was like the curtain was pulled back, and I started to see the business in a whole different way, and definitely grew a lot from that. But then also it kind of it wasn't ever as thrilling as just being that sales rep, just going, clocking in, going to work, doing your thing, having fun with customers and leaving it. It always, you carry it home with you.
Yeah.
You have to think about everybody else. But it was good. And I did it for quite a while. Supervisor, then assistant manager, and worked at different stores throughout the district.
Wow.
And so it turned into a great career. And then, but eventually it got to the point where, I couldn't see myself doing it for another 40 years. It was just like,
yeah.
It's as good as it gets, and
right.
I had these CEO visions and stuff, but then once I started to really understand what that entailed and how fierce the competition is, how cutthroat it is when you're trying to move up the ranks in middle management, it just seemed like there's got to be a better way, I wanted to be CEO, but then I realized CEO of my own business is way better than, it's such because you just do it. You just decide to do it and bam, you're there versus trying to spend 30 or 40 years climbing up these ranks or 20, whatever, to compete with all these people that are constantly trying to take your job.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think, I've been there where you work for someone else for a short amount of time or an extended period of time. If you are an entrepreneur at heart, it's very, very difficult to regardless of the money and all of that. It's wait a minute, because I think you want freedom, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Freedom and just having to do everything their way.
Yeah.
And not being able to, and them constantly telling you to do things better, but then when you want to do things better, you can't do it the way you want to do it, and so it's this caught in the middle of yeah. So
yeah, that sucks. Dude, I remember at 18 I got fired from a factory because this process I was doing, all it was is opening a door and pulling a lever, and these plastic parts fell out. And they said I was working way too fast, and the older women down the line were getting pissed off, and they fired me for working too fast. I'm like, what?
You're making everyone else look bad.
It's terrible, man. But so at some point though, 12 years, 11 years to the day, you said, I just can't do this anymore. And you became an entrepreneur. You left out of you left the cocoon, started flapping your butterfly wings, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't easy. It was a lot. I was conditioned getting that paycheck every 2 weeks for, 14 years if I include my entire, working for other people, life. So
yeah.
I had to overcome a lot of fear of the unknown, and basically I came to this realization that they needed me more than I needed them. Otherwise I I saw so many people come and go and, just get written out of the business or, whatever. And realized hold on a second, I'm actually doing something right enough here that they're keeping me around. And I started to shed my scarcity mindset of I need this job. And that was a big mindset shift where I realized that, they need me more than I need them. And if anything, I can try something else, and I could always get another job if I needed another job. They're out there. And so, but it was almost a realization of you feel trapped mentally, the golden cage kind of thing. And it wasn't even that golden. It was kind of brass. But but I looked at it, it's just how you see it, how you see things. It's cause they had, full benefits and a 401k, and you know, so it's really good in a lot of ways. But then once I started thinking like, oh, there's something beyond this, then that's when I started looking at different business ideas and tried a whole bunch of things that failed, you know, from e-commerce to affiliate marketing to day trading to I had an auto detailing business that worked for a while but then failed. But they were all just like steps in figuring out what I really wanted to do, and then finally came upon creative real estate, and that was the one I stuck with, and I kept failing in the same direction versus, you know, failing a little bit here and a little bit there, a little bit there, and then finally had some success.
So so what you're saying is you did not quit your job at Verizon and instantly become a success.
No, no. I definitely was, it was years of trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
Right.
And finally having some success with real estate, and then actually, even then, still having, you know, this fear of not, you know, I couldn't just leave. I'm not the kind of person that could have just left and figured it out afterwards. So I built a bridge. I built a path. You know, I wanted to make sure I had whatever I was going to do was going to work. So I did the real estate thing for about a year and a half before I actually left, and completed my first actual flip before I left. And that was like the confirmation that, okay, man, I just made basically half a year's pay in one flip, and if I could do it once, I could do it again. And then within about 2 weeks, I put in my notice, and that was actually after it was about a year longer than I thought. My whole plan was to leave after 10 years, so I ended up having to stick around, or I did stick around for a whole another year. So things don't always, you know, happen on the timeline that you anticipate. You know, they take long, but they definitely can happen if you just stick after it.
So you and you know, you have this, especially, I mean, whenever I've seen you, like, you're just this super high energy, like, happy guy. And you know, you've come up with this name, the Friendly Flipper. I love that. But you know, I mean, you started flipping flipping houses, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that's when you found the magic? And did you make money on your first flip?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I started with wholesaling, which is just flipping a contract.
Okay.
Sourcing houses for flippers, or for, you know, buy and hold investors, finding a property at a low enough price that you can basically assign that contract for a fee. And then I did some of those deals and built up some capital, and then started doing some marketing, some paid marketing, and sending out postcards, and then found my first flip from doing that marketing. And all this time I was still working at Verizon. And It's funny that you say, like, one of the most common things the district manager used to tell me at Verizon was I needed to have more energy. I needed more energy. I didn't have enough presence. I needed to be more confident. So the person you see today is absolutely not who I was before. And it wasn't. And so so for what it's worth, I mean, anyone can transform into, you know, what they want to become. It was we did those DISC assessment tests.
Yeah.
I always showed up as a high I, like an ID. But then it wasn't, you know, when I answered the questions, but then it didn't really reflect in my personality, because I kind of I just felt constrained or constricted. And so now I really feel like I am living that high ID kind of personality but it wasn't until I found, like, my passion and started doing what I really wanted to do that I was able to, like, just break free of, like, the corporate kind of mold that I felt like I had to operate within.
You know, and I'm sure, I assume, maybe I shouldn't assume, but I assume you saw Steve Harvey's speech at the Growth Conference.
That was the only one I actually sat through.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was super.
Dude, be honest with me. Did you get choked up?
That was, yeah, man, that was tough. That was like, I mean, I had no idea he went through that. He was homeless for 3 years, and that he, how much he went through.
I know, man. It was crazy. And one of the things that resonated with me the most is, and because you just explained it, you just described exactly what he was saying, is you found your gift. Once you find your gift and you just do it, like, magic happens.
Yeah. And it's hard hard to describe. You're right. It's like magic is a great word for it. It's like you on a whole nother level.
Right. And he talked about that in depth in that, and so I was like, dude, this is insane. I was like, and then I even saw the camera, like, I was up high, and Grant even had a little bit of a tear right there. I was like, all right, stop.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry. It was crazy, dude. But like, so you found your gift, you found the magic, you started creating magic, and I know you've done incredibly well. Why don't you talk about how things are going now and how long you've been because I think you've been doing it for quite a while now, right?
Yeah. So this will be going on 6 years, doing creative real estate, from the time I started studying to then taking action to then, actually doing it, and then just celebrated my 3-year Independence Day from leaving Verizon Wireless, on January 7th, 2016. So,
wow.
That was, and just have never looked back. And, it's just been like finding your passion is one thing, but then it's like even that grows into more and more and more, like personal growth that that's just the beginning. Like finding it is just the beginning. And it's like, whoa. And then it's just been insane as far as like, where it's gone from there. A lot due to the 10X community and going to GrowthCon. I mean, I was 1 year into my house flipping career full time when I went to the first GrowthCon, and just thought I was badass, that I'm working for myself now, and just
right.
like waking up when I wanted to, and then it was a super humbling experience just to be like, man, like just make me feel like, wow, I could be doing so much more. Like I'm not really doing like jack right now. Like, and I'm I was very kind of self-centered and just thinking about me. And Hank challenged me, he's like, what's your 10X goal, dude? And I said, to flip 100 houses a year. And he said, well, that's great, but you're not thinking 10X. Like, and I'm like, all right. So I was just still thinking about myself. And he said, a 10X goal is teaching 100 other people how to flip 100 houses a year. Now you're changing lives. Like now you're, making an impact. And then it just got me thinking so much bigger. And it's crazy since then, like every time I go, like the first GrowthCon got me thinking bigger. The second one got me thinking even bigger. And then like the third, like now I'm even thinking bigger coming back from this one. It's like,
right.
Yeah, it's insane. Like how we're only limited by our beliefs. And I'm sure, most people have heard that, but at whatever level you think you're operating at, it's like, man, you can do so much more. And it's happened every time so far. Like, so it's
and I to drive that point home, let's talk about your income level when you were working at Verizon. Like, what was the biggest paycheck you had?
Well, about $5,000 a paycheck at the most. I mean, it was, or no, even less than that. Because I know my first wholesale deal, I made $6,500, and that was more than any single Verizon check. Getting paid bi-week.
That was for 2 weeks, right? You were paid every 2 weeks.
Yeah, every 2 weeks. Yeah.
So maybe $2,500 in a week that you'd made, ish.
Yeah, around that. Yeah, something. It was around 90 a year when I left.
Okay.
So,
well, that's not bad money. I mean, unless you live in California.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean,
Right.
But
So,
not bad by any means.
right,
But,
right.
and a lot of people, I think, would be like, oh, man, like, that's great. I want that career. But then it wasn't about that. It was about the freedom and being able to
Right.
do what I wanted. And, you know, I mean, you could still live a very good life on that amount of money. But, like, now it's like doing whatever I want when I want to. And that's, like, wow, it's like where the true freedom is. And just being able to create. So I felt like I was giving my best hours every day,
Right.
all my potential to this corporation just to put numbers on their board, and they could fire me anytime. Like I'm just a number to them, basically.
Right, right. And so I mean, can you imagine just for a minute if you would have had Grant Cardone playing in your earbuds while you're at Verizon slinging cell phones? Like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure that I could stay at Verizon for very long.
Yeah. No, I mean, I probably would have sold a lot more phones,
Right.
for the time being. But then, yeah, it wasn't until about a year and a half. Actually, it was one of my house flipping mentors interviewed Grant on a podcast. His podcast mentor I'm talking about is Justin Williams. Pretty well-known house flipper. He interviewed Grant on his podcast called 8 Minute Millionaire, and I had never heard of this guy before, and I'm just like hearing this dude that's like talking about 10x in your life and 10x in everything, and like this southern accent, and just like so driven and talking about doing more, and I'm like, and that really resonated with me. So then I looked him up on YouTube and listened to the 10x rule for free on YouTube. But he definitely got his money worth out of me now, you know.
Yeah,
so that
right.
just the whole that's how I figured out, you know, learned about Grant and kind of got on that whole like 10x path. And man, I'm so thankful to have connected with so many people in that community. It's changed my life just drastically. Like,
Right. So you, and that was, dude, I didn't realize it's only been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. And now, like, you've got, like, and that's, I live to help other people, right? And I know you do. And so now you're not just flipping houses, and I mean, I know you're making great money at what you're doing, but now you're helping a lot of other people, like, everywhere.
Yeah.
Talk about that. How are you doing that?
So yeah, you know, after that conversation, sorry.
Hey,
after that,
watch out! There's a fire nearby.
So yeah, after that first growth con, just got to thinking so much bigger, and how I could give back more, and how I could, you know, help other people find, you know, be the person basically that I needed when I was in that corporate job and was trying to find a way out. And so in doing that, I got that challenge from Hank, and he was like, dude, you should, you know, think about, you know, what you could do if you share this gift with other people. And then came across the opportunity, a way to share it in a scalable way, you know, creating a course, that is something that, you know, I could, you know, help a lot of people without, you know, spending, you know, without taking up all of my time. So like a simple method. And then also around that same time, having people asking me, you know, how, hey, can you teach me? You know, so it was kind of like the three things coming together and following my gut a lot more. That's one thing like that I didn't do for the longest time at Verizon. And so just kind of came into finding that power, that compass within, around the time I discovered 10X and Grant and stuff, and thinking less and just following like what feels like, not emotionally, but what feels like where the universe is kind of guiding you. And so I went for it. I was like, okay, these three things are kind of telling me I could do so much more. So then I built out Friendly Flipper Academy, which is how I teach people now how to flip and wholesale houses, and basically all the steps to what I do, and I don't hold anything back. I'm super anti-guru-ish. Like, I don't like the whole aspect of like, okay, take this free weekend seminar, and then we'll tell you this much, and then you got to sign up for our week-long boot camp, and then we'll tell you this much, and then you got to sign up and spend $50,000, and by the end of the time, you have people crying in the back of the room, calling their relatives to borrow money so they can. It's like, that's terrible. Like, it's like totally defeating the purpose of helping people. Like,
right.
So, so doing this.
Hey, call your credit card company right now, and they'll increase your limit. All you have to do is ask.
Yeah.
That,
it's like, man,
right? That.
Like, for sure, because the information's out there. It's all free. It's out there, but it's just like, and that's how I really learned the majority of it, was just watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts and reading Bigger Pockets posts just for hours on end. But it should be available in a condensed, this is what you do step-by-step format. And so that's what I did. I built Friendly Flipper Academy on the Lightspeed VT platform. So it's top-notch, same as, Cardone University and Tony Robbins and Damon Johns. So it was like, okay, this is how I can facilitate this and help other people flip their lives.
That's awesome, dude. So let me ask you this, because there's a lot of people out there that sell a variety of training and coaching, and I do coaching, right? So what about the people? And I've seen it already. Like, I've seen people talking about you in a positive light. Like, I've seen where people are saying they're taking your course and you actually have some very successful students.
Yeah. It's been just about a year and 3 months since we launched the course, and spent the first year just really honing it, fine-tuning it, creating that tribe and creating success stories, and
right.
It's been super rewarding to see. I mean, the smallest success story a student has made, the littlest amount of money, was literally a 10x return. They basically made $10,500 on their $1,000 investment doing a wholesale deal, and that's just, like I said, the smallest. I've had students make up to $258,000 on a deal, thanks to what they were able to learn from my course. And that's like the rewarding, like that learning about, like when my student was telling me like that the deal was closing, it was like the size of the smile on my face is just huge. Like, 'cause it's just like, man, it impacts other people's, like, it's crazy. Like now it's like, I don't have a family of my own yet. I mean, kids and a wife of my own yet. So it's like, but I didn't want to wait to have that, to make that difference in the world, So my whole mission is like, if I can help other people change the course of their family history, like that's like that's the ultimate reward for me, is like, if I can they can remember me as, that was Jeremy. That's the dude who, helped me like create this freedom to spend more time with my family. Like, that's the guy who helped us get on this different path. And so that's been my mission, and it's starting more and more. I'm getting more and more success stories, and students are having more and more success, and it's crazy that it's coming to life. So,
dude, that's so incredible. I love that. So what about now? I want to ask you about this though, because like somebody making $258,000, like that's a lot of that's a big chunk of change. Like that's pretty significant.
Results
right?
Not typical, but that's kind of the exception to the rule.
I know. I you're like, disclaimer time. No, I get that, dude. But let's talk about that. Was that person already making millions of dollars? Were they making hundreds of thousands, or were they like, because okay, so what the point I'm getting to is, I can remember having salespeople that worked for me that, I did a survey, and the most anybody had ever made in 1 week in their life was like $500. And this was many years ago. And it was, I saw that there was this invisible ceiling people were hitting. And you know, the guy that made, or gal that made 258,000, or the one that made 10,000, did they blow past their ceiling, I guess is the question. Was that them going to a whole different level in life?
For the 10,000, I think so, yes. And then then there's been, you know, a bunch of them in between there. So the particular one, the guy where he made 258, actually already had a very successful roofing business, but had not gotten into real estate yet. So in that perspective, he's already making great money, but now making even more. But it's the mindset that really makes the difference in the action taking. Like, I mean, that's the biggest thing where I find that, you know, I do all I can to set people up for success, but it's the ones that obviously take action and take the consistent action that have the successes, the biggest successes. But, you know, from all the other ones like in between, like, you know, 25, 37, like 60 something, like it's definitely adding, you know, a significant amount, 50% to 100% more to their income.
Right.
So
that's the point is that I'm trying to make is anybody could take what you're saying is anybody can take your course, and regardless of where they are, I'm sure there's some parameters, but regardless of where they are, for the most part, they could start, if they apply the principles in this course, they could start making money right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's the biggest thing that I see, because trust me, I've thought so much on this, like, because there's students that, you know, that have success and students that don't. And what kills me is when they don't, like, because I take it kind of personally, but then I realize, like, okay, I'm really doing more than any other coach I know, as far as like to be able to guide them and help and support them. But what I've come up with is that people expect success too soon, and they give up too soon. Like, it's all about being persistent and failing in the same direction over and over and over. And then I realized, looking back, like, that's the only reason I've been able to do what I've been able to do, is because I just don't stop. I just don't give up. I just know that, you know, with every little failure, I'm getting closer and closer. And, you know, it's barely, I mean, I'm just now in this last, I would say 6 months, I'm starting to see all of these seeds that I've been planting for going on 4 years now really starting to pop up, and things like really starting to happen fast, like, which is crazy. But it's like stuff, it takes time. It takes time. But I'm no different in the way that if I can do it, someone else can do it. But it's just consistency and just keeping after it. And because we want success so quick, or we want, you know, to see results so quick, and there's a price that you got to pay, and that's putting in the work, and it's putting in the work and not stopping, and putting in more and more and more work. And you know, I don't think I would have. I know I wouldn't have. That a lot of that concept came from Grant Cardone, and just following his example, and just seeing, like, man, he's just a guy. I'm just a guy. If he can do it, I can do it. You know, if they can do it, I can do it. And so then it's just the same thing. Like, if I can do it, someone else can do it, kind of thing. Like, everyone's capable with literally massive action. Like, that's the thing, like, that I live by, is massive action and staying out of my comfort zone. Like, I learned pretty quickly that once I stayed out, I started staying uncomfortable as much as possible, which it's hard to do because it chases you like a shadow. You got to keep like trying to get away from it. And then just massive action. When you think you're doing a lot, you can do more, or you can do it better. And it's just there's always a higher gear. And that's what I can attribute growth, however, some people may think it's like somewhat fast growth. For me, it seems like a long time. Like, it's been like, years in the making,
right?
And they're kind of seeing it now. But that's it. There's no magic. It's just following your passion and just getting after it every day.
I love it, dude. Like, so you, you're seeing. I think what is the coolest part of this entire story is, you left I mean, 90 grand a year is that's a pretty decent income, man. So, but you left that. You went out on your own. You learned the house flipping, or what do you call it? Creative real estate investing.
Yeah.
Okay.
House flipping.
So you went out and learned this stuff, and then you decided, wait a minute, I can impact a heck of. And Hank Norman is the king of challenging you, by the way. Like, he's the king. I know Hank really well, and so like Hank challenged you, and you're like, dude, okay, and now you're helping a lot of people.
Yeah. No, it's so rewarding. Like, it's so much more rewarding than anything I've ever done to be able to inspire others and lead by example. It's like, it's awesome.
Dude, that's awesome. You gotta. I mean, I can't have you on the show and not have you tell the funniest damn story I think I've ever heard or seen. I watched it all play out, and that's the Crack Shack.
Oh yes, yeah. Crack Shack, the infamous Crack Shack.
Dude, you gotta tell everybody about the Crack Shack.
Oh yeah, so man, it's so that was a house that was on the market. That it was the bank ended up taking back the house, and they listed it for sale, and so there was a bunch of investors looking at it, and being naive enough or stupid enough or smart enough, depending on how you look at it, I put in my offer and ended up winning. I had the best offer, and man, that house needed a ton of work. Like, it was basically a house that had caught on fire a few years back, and so half the house was burned, and in that time a bunch of transients and drug users, crackheads, were using that house to party in and do their thing, and just like 70-something bicycle frames in the yard. There was a lot of cracktivity going on.
Yeah.
A lot of very interesting inventions that were put together by people that were on a good one, so to speak.
Oh my God.
But anyway, I had to basically take everything out of the yard, and it turned into this awesome opportunity to film the whole project, and I would go over and kind of in and see how the project was going, and found some crackies on more than one occasion, and
Dude, you were going in there. You were going in there at just for anybody that didn't see it. Like, people are commenting right now on Facebook saying cracktivity here, cracky, and you're going over there in the pitch black of night. I don't even know what time. It looked really late, and you're wearing one of those headbands with the flashlight on it. And you're carrying some kind of a weapon of sorts.
Yeah, I had my trademark machete with the headlamp on, and
dude, that was so funny. Holy crap! And you're going here, cracky.
Yeah. I had some encounters with crackheads, and it's all on YouTube. If anyone wants to check it out, it's on the YouTube channel. And
it's funny. You got to go watch it. But you took that house. You finally got all of the vagabonds and the crackheads. You got them out of your house, and you turn it. Man, that house actually turned out to be something quite spectacular.
Yeah, no, it came out awesome.
And you made some money on it?
Yeah, made some good money on it. Definitely the most extensive renovation project I've ever taken on, and
wow.
Man, overcoming just so many challenges with that one, from changing contractors midway through to dealing with, I mean, it was as red tagged as they can get by the city, and went through all the hoops and building, having to get plans drawn up and paying way more than I should have for plans because I didn't realize it at the time. But just like learning, like the lessons that were learned in that project were just, I mean, priceless in a lot of ways. And now it's like, man, I could take on any level of project now. And it's funny, it's actually putting that project online and showing those cracky videos is actually what got me and led to me doing my first keynote speech, because someone saw me and they recommended that I speak at this event called IMG, and this was last year, where I had a breakout session, and then that went well enough that they invited me back this year and January, and I did my first keynote speech kind of as a result. It's crazy how one thing just leads to the next, and but all just by living my dream and having fun with it and kind of just, not thinking about, but just having fun and just doing my thing and
that one thing I want to point out about is, a lot of people would have said, because you went through, I saw it, I watched it all unfold, and like you went through a lot of crap, like a lot, and with that project, and a lot of people would have been like, you know what, I find one more crackhead in this place, I'm going to start smoking crack. Like, this is crazy, right? But you just, man, you made fun, you had fun with it. And I'm not making fun of crackheads, so don't, no hate mail. I don't want to hear it. But but you had fun with it, and you kept a really positive attitude, and you turned it. It was almost like, I'm telling you, man. There were times I felt like I was watching the Blair Witch Project with Jeremy carrying a freaking machete around, and I'm like, oh my God, what's he gonna do? Like, is he gonna chop somebody's head off? like it was, dude. Anyway. So you had fun with it, though, and you kept a positive attitude, and you kept the positive energy flowing, and and it turned out to be a great thing for you.
Yeah. Oh, in so many ways, and and a lot of expensive lessons learned. The holding time on that went way over what I expected and anticipated. Thank God I over budgeted because I was going into something with some unknowns, a lot of unknowns, but man, yeah. I would absolutely do it again. And I'm not a violent person either. I carried the machete for, comedic effect and more to make an impact on anyone that might try to come up, try to do something to me, so never.
I'm probably not going to cut your head off with this machete, but
I don't want you to.
There's a chance.
Or anything. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So back off, dude. Back off. So, dude, you're funny, man. You're such a good guy too, and hence the name, the Friendly Flipper. I love that name. You're freaking awesome. So number one, how can I want to ask how everybody can follow you?
Yeah, Instagram is the best way, at the Friendly Flipper. The Friendly Flipper. You can also find me on Snapchat at Friendly Flipper, as well as Facebook, The Friendly Flipper. But Instagram is where I'm most active right now on social media.
So and I want to ask you this, if everybody, and I'll throw it up on the screen, the URL. So tell everybody if they want to sign up and again, before I ask this question, I want you to make sure that you explain to people that, signing up for your academy, and getting into what you do, if they want to really get into flipping houses, I think people probably blow this up into something some ginormous undertaking that, oh my God, I'm going to have to whatever. And from what I've heard you say, it's really not that difficult to do.
It's not. It just takes a lot of action. That's the thing. It's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It's just, it's just basically taking step by step by step, in the right direction. And 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 massive action. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing that will accelerate anyone's growth is just getting after it consistently every day and spending the time just following what I tell people to do and show and teach and instruct them how to do.
What's the website address for people to sign up, and how much is it?
So it's friendlyflipperacademy.com, friendlyflipperacademy.com. And it is we're currently actually still running the 10X GrowthCon special, and since you and I connected through the 10X community, we'll glad to extend that offer for anyone, because I'm looking to create as many success stories as I can right now, and create success stories in every state in the U.S. And so right now it is just $9.97 for not annual access. Normally it's $19.97 for a year, but it's $9.97 for lifetime for the entire Friendly Flipper Academy, lifetime access to the live weekly coaching calls. Every Thursday I do a live call, so I'm there to support people with questions and answers, and lifetime access to my Inner Circle Mastermind group.
Wow.
So for $9.97. So while supplies last, well, not while supplies last, but until we take it off that promotion. So
yeah.
But yeah, it is really a great time to get in and to start house flipping. And there's never been, it's like the time is literally now. It's like you can start this, and if a year goes by from now, you're going to look back and be like, man, I could have started this a year ago. So it's like, why wait? Like there's always there's opportunity in every city. There's the biggest things that people say is, can I do it in my market? And yes, if there's houses in your market that people buy and sell, yes. The other thing is, do I need a lot of money? And the answer is no, you don't need a lot of money to get started. I teach you how to use other people's money, how to leverage OPM to fund projects. And then the other thing is, is it hard? And it's not hard. It just takes it just takes action. Like if you're willing to take the action, I'm there to support you every step of the way.
Wow, dude, that's incredible. $9.97 for access to the Friendly Flipper Academy, lifetime access.
Lifetime access.
And then every Thursday you do a call. Is that right? Yes. What do you mean a call? Like you're going to call me?
So I do a video on Zoom. I do a video conference. So it's myself and as many students that want to join, and we'll talk about real estate things as well as a lot of personal. I'm big on personal development stuff, and so like yesterday's call was all about a morning routine and setting yourself up for a powerful day. So just basically showed everything my morning routine is, what best practices I have. And then the latter part of the call led into talking about auctions, buying properties at auctions, and real estate agents, and how you can work with finding the best agents to get on your team. And that live weekly, I'm able to get on there, and they have access directly to me, so they're not dealing with a student coach. I'm there for them. And then we also have the mastermind group, which is a Facebook group where, as questions come up throughout the week, because there's no way you can teach everything in a course that's going to be specific to a certain deal. So with those two extra channels of support, the live calls and then the group, that's where I'm able to, answer questions related to specific deals and, help people overcome obstacles.
Wow, dude, that's insane. And how long? Like, is there a limitation on the length of time that they have access to the calls and all of that, or is it?
Right now, as of now, we're bundling it all together because, like I said, I want to grow that student base. I want to create as many success stories as I can.
Wow.
So for the time being, it's all included. Eventually, the calls are going to go to a subscription kind of based thing, like either annual or monthly kind of thing. And same with the mastermind group, just because, from a business standpoint, lifetime access isn't the smartest model for long. You know?
That's surprising.
But it's but like I said, it's for right now. It's my whole objective is to grow the student base and then create more success stories. So it really is a great time to get in.
So you have, and in this group, you have people that are currently like flipping houses, right? They show up for these meetings and stuff. Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. So, dude, that's awesome. If you guys want to learn how to flip houses from the friendliest flipper in the world, non-violent machete carrying guy. Dude, we have some amazing people on here. Jeez, you'll have to go back and look at the comments. Leah Marie, James Springer, Jim Weaver, Amina Mami, Megan Wright. We have so many people on here. My wife, Jill, Samuel Sneed. Jeez, Brian Hess. I saw him a minute ago. So tell me this, like, and you've seen it, like, for. I mean, I know you've been doing the academy for a year, but I'm sure that over the years you've met people that you look at them and you like, or you talk to them and you're like, they're stuck, like they're stuck, right? What is it that you think? I mean, for $997, you could literally, somebody could become a multimillionaire if they just take this and actually apply it and learn how to do it, right? So. The ones that don't, and we know there's a lot that don't, or people that may buy the academy and don't actually do the training. Those people that stay stuck, what do you think the reason is? And just this is about your opinion. What do you think keeps people stuck?
An unwillingness to try new things and to try to just see what works, like to try things and to fail and to adjust and then to keep failing and just keep pushing forward. I think a lot of people want to be perfect, or a lot of people are concerned with what other people think, or they're trying to have some level of success without failure, because or maybe that, they don't, because, until you start embracing failure and realizing that it's just each time you fail, you're getting closer to success. You won't reach success. You'll give up. And, so I think a willingness to fail, a willingness to kind of go against the grain,
right?
Go opposite, like if try new things. If it doesn't, if everybody's running in this direction, like it's okay to be different and try it this way and just experiment, see, find what works for you and don't always believe what you're told. Like start challenging everything that you've been told. Start challenging the way you've been, programmed by society or whatever the societal norms are.
Right.
Because it's not wrong, but we almost put it in this category of like, oh, if it's not what, like I was told this, so it's wrong to do anything other than that. No, it's just, you got to try stuff, figure out what works.
Yeah, I love it, dude. So if somebody called you up and said, dude, I can't, like my electric's getting shut off tomorrow. My car was repossessed last week. I can't feed my kids. I don't know what to do. My life's falling apart. And they were seeking advice. Would you just hang up on them? I'm just kidding. No. Like, hey, man, you called the wrong number. Bye. No, I'm kidding. But, like, what would you say to that person to help them get unstuck and move through that and into the solution?
Get a hold of yourself, man.
Right.
Faith. You got to have faith, man. You got to have faith that things are going to work out and that these challenges are building you, first off. And so it's mindset. Because I've been through a lot of like failures and a lot of things that didn't go my way and hard times. And the things that pull me through those is a faith that it's going to work out. If you stay positive, if you stay working in that direction, if you give up, and you start freaking out, then that's when that's not so good. But if it's just knowing that you're going through this for a reason, and it's not about don't worry about what's happening, but just keep looking forward. And if they were in that particular position, I would say get a job quickly. Get a job. I mean, the first thing you need to do is, be able to support, put food on the table, have, shelter and stuff.
Right.
But and then the next step would be, okay, once you've got all the chaos kind of you've taken some control over it, then start thinking, okay, what's the next step, and what's the next step, and man, if Steve Harvey can live in a car for 3 years, and like he said, it was faith that carried him through. Like and look at him now. I mean, that's a testament to like just belief in that whatever you're going through is building you for who you're able to become. And
I think, and you're right, man. Steve Harvey lived in a car for 3 years, homeless, like, dude. And now his net worth's like $150. Like, and I'm not talking about $50, like 150-ish million or so, I think. I don't know. But I mean, that's crazy. So anything is possible is what you're saying with the right mindset and action.
Yeah. Mindset and action will carry you through.
That's it, dude. That's it. Jeremy, I can't thank you enough for I know it's early out there in California, and I'm very grateful that you took the time to come on the show, man. I want to say to everybody on here, like, look, for $997, you'd have to be crazy. If you've ever thought, man, I'd like to learn how to flip houses or get into real estate investing, or what do you call it? Creative real estate investing, right?
Yep.
And I know another guy that told me that wholesale thing is legit.
Oh yeah,
it's a way to make. And like this other dude told me, I think he said he made like $50,000 in 2 hours and didn't touch the house. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. It's entirely possible.
Didn't even see it like in person.
You're right. Yeah. You can have if you got some boots on the ground, have a real estate agent, just pay them a little fee for checking it out. It's absolutely doable.
Dude, that's crazy. And you teach that in the academy.
Yes. Yep.
That's insane. Y'all need to go get on this. $997, and your life will improve. And you have, like, Jeremy's going to give you his cell phone number or something. I'm kidding. And
there is one-on-one coaching available that's at a higher price. But yeah, I mean, they do have access to me once a week on the call as well as through the Facebook group. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, everybody share this out. Make sure that if you've ever thought about it, jump on the Friendly Flipper Academy. Let Jeremy Rubin teach you how it's done, and he can show you the errors of your ways if you're trying it and it's not working. So, jump on there. Jeremy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on, dude. You're an awesome dude, awesome guy.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you everybody for joining. I'm going to come back and see. I haven't been able to see who's on there, but I really appreciate everyone tuning in, and much love to everybody out there.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you. Don't hang up on me yet. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Have an awesome weekend. And don't take the weekend off. Work through it, man. Keep going.
Grind mode.
That's it. See you guys later. Thanks, Jeremy.